NetherRealm Studios. You should be ashamed of yourself.
But she needs another breakup song, and Kelce's gonna be that. Mark my words. Welcome, you nerds. Welcome to another Podcasting on Nerdy. We're on episode 7. Can you believe that?
No.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Keep it up on 10.
And as always, we are your blurds here with the weekly dose of your nerdness, entertainment news. And we're going to get right into it because there is a lot to cover.
There's so much, guys. Bear with us. There's so many things we're about to talk about. Everything from wrestling to, I know you guys are probably right now as we record this watching the Kansas City Chiefs and New York Jets game. We're even cracking into football today. So sit tight. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming your way. Follow through with everything we're talking about because there's so much awesome stuff.
All right. What's blowing up our Twitter? So, me being the DC guy, James Gunn loves threads. I will say this. He loves threads. He loves Reddit. He loves to, answer people, even though he just recently said he's going to stop doing that. He's going to stop debunking rumors, but he can't help himself. James Gunn cannot help himself. The good thing about him not being able to help himself is we get some good nuggets out of his responses.
Yes, we do.
So 4 DCU actors are going to be joining the DCU. And he mentioned in a response to a thread that Viola Davis as Amanda Waller was, and we kind of already knew this because the Waller show was announced in chapter 1 of Gods and Monsters. In his announcement, he said Freddy Stroma as Vigilante is returning, which is awesome because that's definitely their Deadpool. If you watch Peacemaker, he was a highlight of that show. I'm definitely excited to hear that Vigilante is going to be on our screen more. And that one also doesn't surprise me because James Gunn has hinted that Peacemaker Season 2 will be part of the DCU, that Peacemaker Season 1 will be cherry-picked as far as canon goes, that definitely Peacemaker Season 2 will be part of the DCU story and allude to DCU elements. So Freddy Stroma returning as Vigilante is not too surprising for me. Is this one you're happy to hear about? Did you watch Peacemaker Season 1?
I did watch Peacemaker because I'm sorry, a lot of people don't believe this as much as I do. John Cena is actually a very talented actor, and he has been able to translate his wrestling success into a successful acting career. And he definitely earned the Peacemaker moniker and the Peacemaker solo series. Honestly, it was a hit. It was an absolute hit. And Vigilante was a very big part of that, and Freddy Stroma playing Vigilante was definitely very crucial to making sure that character popped out the screen right next to a John Cena as Peacemaker. Mm-hmm. But I think that leads us into another announcement too, as well.
It does. Before I get there, though, I want to say, do you totally agree with the sentiment that isn't Vigilante their Deadpool? I mean, as far as mannerisms, as far as the way Freddy Stroma portrayed Vigilante, I mean,
so okay. I always throw Vigilante as the Red Hood situation. I feel like he's got a little bit more of the darker notes to it. I will always have the comparison of Deathstroke to Deadpool because they look identical.
Yeah, that's the comparison there. But
I know, but it's just for me, Vigilante doesn't quite have that merc with a mouth type thing going on for me. He's got more of the disgruntled cop situation going on for me. If they were lined up side by side, the Deadpool would pop a little bit more off the screen just because he's just more extreme. I think Vigilante is more subtle with it, and it's if you said Deadpool light, I would have totally agreed with you, but it's not quite to the level of Deadpool. It was what I would say. But I'm also Marvel keen, so.
But leading into that, what you're hinting at, and we kind of knew this, John Cena as Peacemaker here is definitely going to be part of the DCU. So yeah, this is a kind of a dumb moment as much as Amanda Waller and Viola Davis returning.
But we didn't have as many clues. He said that he wanted to, but it all comes down to being able to make it happen, and that means the talks happened, and that means it's a done deal. If he came out and said this is happening, now we know it's a done deal. There's no cookie crumbs to follow or anything like that.
But to me, the highlight of the list that came out of this response, James Gunn confirmed that we haven't seen the last of Blue Beetle, that Jaime Reyes is going to be in the DCU and making appearances. And you have to, right? If you're going to have Booster Gold in your universe, you need Blue Beetle.
You're going to see a pattern tonight. There's going to be a lot of confirmation happening in this podcast today. And I believe with this announcement, we will be getting a Booster Gold, and we already know he's eyeing for Booster Gold. So to me, this is just a natural progression of what we've already told you. And if you guys would tune in and catch our sound bites, we're telling you all of this months in advance, guys.
Yeah.
We are talking about these things, and it's so funny and so heartwarming that we get stuff right.
Mm-hmm.
It's so confirming to me. It just means that not only are they trying to make money, but they're also doing the right thing as far as fans are concerned. I was really nervous about James Gunn in the beginning of this podcast, not the beginning, obviously, this episode, but if you go to further episodes back, I was a very big James Gunn skeptic. I said, show me something. And guess what?
He's showing you.
He is showing me what he wants to do, and it looks like it's very much fan aligned, which is very much. Thank you, James Gunn. Thank you.
He also confirmed that canon starts with Creature Commandos.
Okay.
That's where canon starts.
That makes it important.
Yeah.
That makes Creature Commandos important, which is what he wants to do, because that's a near and dear pet project for him. So it actually brings validation to his pet project, which you don't normally get to just say and give your pet project importance like that. So it's kind of cool that he's like, you know what? I'm working on this. This is what I want to be important. This gets to be important. So it's good to be the boss over there, apparently. We're not. Aquaman 2 is officially on the outs. Like, I feel like it's the end of the Snyderverse, technically, right? But with him not being there?
Definitely going to be. Aquaman 2 is going to be the end of it. And this further proves to me that Jason Momoa is getting a new role in the DCU, and I'm about 98% sure it's Lobo. And so, which I'm excited for. I think he's going to kill it as Lobo. But this further proves to me that James Gunn wants to distance himself from that, and this is off soft reset for sure, but it's leaning toward a hard reset. He's bringing over characters, but he said that, canon doesn't start until Creature Commandos. This is similar to like J. Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons, right? How he appeared as J. Jonah Jameson in a Tom Holland Spider-Man, right? Same character, but his canon, his history in the Toby universe didn't happen. Same idea. This is to me the easiest way I can explain James Gunn DCU. Is yes, some characters are coming over, but their prior history didn't happen. For example, Peacemaker season 1. I doubt they're gonna acknowledge or say that at the end that Peacemaker, the Justice League shows up and he's like, about damn time you guys showed up, blah blah blah. That didn't happen. Even though Peacemaker is joining the DCU, but they may hint at the Firefly, the butterfly invasion. He could say that he could keep that part of the canon without keeping other parts of the canon. And I think that's what's going to happen. Is like the basics of the canon may stay, but the little subtleties did not happen.
Yep. I'm going to name 3 villains for you. That I think might make their DC, I would say their DCEU appearances or debuts. Mm-hmm. I think if they really want to do this and they want to do it the right way, these are the 3 that I think that are possible. Solomon Grundy,
mm-hmm.
Atrocitus,
mm-hmm.
or Mongol.
You're saying in Creature Commandos?
I'm saying, yeah, villain hint.
Yeah. You could do a dark side hint too.
I don't think he's going to go there.
But I don't know if you want to blow your load that quickly.
I don't think he's going to even get there. I think that's so far down the road. I don't think James Gunn gets it done unless he ends up being a 20-year head of this company.
So you think you don't think it's in the first 10 years that we get Darkseid? I can see that being true. He's a heavy hitter. I mean, how long did it take MCU to get Thanos?
They hinted at Thanos the first Avengers movie,
right? But his first appearance.
Yeah. So it took about 7 years from Avengers 1 to Endgame for that whole thing to be completed up. Before Avengers, though, there were 4 movies.
True.
So what I think is irrelevant because it's DC. Don't get me wrong. It's not my element, but I dabble. The smart play for me is Atrocitus. I think that the creature comes it would be cool to see like Atrocitus have origins of Earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
maybe they banish him and then the Red Ring finds him.
Yeah.
Something like that. You have to establish not an Avengers level threat. The good thing about DC is that like every superhero has like their main villain, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. But none of them are usually outside of their parameters.
Sure.
What he's going to have to do is he's going to have to set these characters up to be one, beatable by Superman, but not beatable by anybody else. Mm-hmm. There's not very many of those that exist. Mm-hmm. So whoever they bring out's got to be a heavy hitter, but I don't think he brings out the mega level threat for at least 5.
No, I don't think any mega level threat or even like B or A level threat will appear in Creature Commandos. I think it's going to be a very isolated series.
Okay.
I think they're going to be.
It has to be with it being a period piece, so.
Yeah, I think they're going to be dealing with somebody that they don't necessarily like are done with by the end of the season or by the end of the series, but they have defeated in a sense. That's why I said something like Vandal Savage or something like that, because like I could see like them like him Vandal Savage being a foe that could still appear later down the line. Another thing I'm interested in is the Rick Flag Sr. of it all. Because if it's a period piece, do we get Rick Flag Jr. in the future? Like obviously not Joe Kinnaman. Most likely not.
Has Suicide Squad happened in his universe?
Right, exactly. Or do we just get an older Rick Flag? Or does like Rick Flag Senior, is he our Rick Flag in the DCU, right? And we don't even get a junior. So I'm interested about that. But my thought there though is like if there is a period piece, and let's say Rick Flag Senior is in the Creature Commandos is in his like 30s, right? Then you're dealing with like a Rick Flag Senior in his 50s in modern day, right? Mm-hmm. Or 60s or something like that. So I almost guess we're having to almost have to get a Rick Flag Jr. So.
We almost have to, but also what besides Suicide Squad? I'm not as familiar with Rick Flag Jr. What else does he do besides Suicide Squad?
It's pretty isolated to the Suicide Squad.
That's what I kind of thought. They may not have to bother with it.
Yeah, I may not have to bother with that character. You're right.
So it just kind of depends. It's again, it's the up in the air stuff. We got a bunch of confirmations, but those are things I think we're have to just wait and see. That's the one thing I don't like about the whole the expansive DC universe. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, Marvel's notorious for it too. But the DC universe likes to do as much as they possibly can without giving away anything.
And by the way, Rick Flag Sr. is being played by the same guy who played Crossbones in the MCU. That's kind of interesting. Yeah. So that's Rick Flag. That's Rick Flag Sr. Can't think of his name at the moment, but he played Crossbones in the MCU.
I should know his name.
Frank Grillo? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Frank Grillo. Okay.
Yeah, so he's playing Rick Flag Sr.
It's going to be action heavy.
So, yeah. So he could play a young Rick Flag Sr. That works.
He's old, though. He's old.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's animated.
Oh, duh. Okay. I keep forgetting that's going to be animated. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I literally sit here in my mind. I had him in like World War II. No. Sorry. Forgive my straight up ignorance.
But I agree with you. Like he wouldn't like, especially as a period piece, you couldn't bring Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr. in modern DCU because it just wouldn't look right. I agree there. But yeah, so I'm interested to see how that works out. So Deadpool 3 is going to be basically a love letter to the Fox's X-Men legacy. The director has confirmed. So we kind of could hint at this from like set pics and stuff like this. So yeah, it's basically, he mentioned that it has really not going to touch on anything MCU X-Men. It's basically going to be, it's going to hint at those sort of things and hint at what the future may be held. But the basics of the movie is just going to be nostalgia, going to be honoring the Fox X-Men legacy, giving these actors one last song as the X-Men.
They've earned it. They've earned it. Absolutely earned it. No matter how you feel about X-Men 3, these people set the foundation for us on superhero movies moving forward. I'm excited for this for the seriously, the only reason I'm excited for this is they finally get Hugh Jackman back on screen as Wolverine.
Yeah.
With Ryan Reynolds. That movie's going to explode.
Just that alone. Let alone like probably James Marsden being back as Cyclops, let alone Halle Berry probably making an appearance as Storm. All these are
confirmed actually. She has white hair right now.
All these are going to be icing on the cake, but like you're right. That's the bread and butter right there. That's where it is.
That's what's going to get people in the door. What's going to get them the hype and the rave reviews is bringing back solid actors performing characters we do not get to see. Don't get me wrong. We have Cyclops. Don't get me wrong. Cyclops was great in First Class and Days of Future Past, all that good stuff.
Right.
But the character was not used in the same capacity. Same with Storm. The like all of it. It's just not the same when it's not Halle Berry, when it's not James Marsden, when it's not Famke Johansson, when it's not. I wonder. Okay. I'll tell you the one thing that would be like not just the icing, but the cherry on top. We get Anna Paquin with the white streak in her hair and the classic outfit. I would poop myself.
Can we get Ray Park as Toad? Can we get that back? No,
I forgot he did that. Yeah, get him to do that, but he's holding a dual lightsaber in his tongue.
Right.
Darth Maul references. Ha ha ha. Yeah.
And then, like Halle Berry be like, didn't I fry you? Like.
Yeah, but you know what's awesome about Toad? but that's another thing is that character got kind of changed up as well with First Class and stuff. Don't even get me started on X-Men. I could dedicate a whole episode to how X-Men basically said, hey, you know what? I know we already did you already, but like we're gonna do you a completely different way in this movie over here, and nobody's gonna have to talk about it.
Was Toad in First Class?
No, he was in Days of Future Past.
But he got redone. I forgot about that.
He had the goggles and his face was all actually Toad-like it's supposed to be, and not just
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So and he had like goggles because of his eyes because he can't be in the sun. But he was in Vietnam. He was in that group with Porcupine, Havoc, and Biohazard. I think is his name.
Yeah, you're right.
I think those are the four that were in that tent when Mystique came in to rescue them. But yeah, no. Small things like that, man. So it's just kind of like when they don't do that, if you notice the characters that don't get redone are the ones that are able to come back.
Right.
Because they don't want to have to answer about it. And they don't want to have to pick one. So this is going to be interesting. I'm interested to see what they do with it. There's going to be a lot of really cool nostalgia. I hope there's a Patrick Stewart cameo at the minimum.
I was just thinking that. I was just about to bring that up. I was just bring that up, and I think McKellen is more of an option than Patrick Stewart because I think Patrick Stewart mentioned that he was done, and like Doctor Strange was kind of his swan song.
Which is why they did the big yellow wheelchair for him.
Yeah, that he had no interest. Like he's like, basically, I'm too old for this shit type of deal. So like but maybe McKellen would do it. But it makes no sense if McKellen does it like not to have Patrick Stewart, right? Like you kind of need Fisher X and Magneto at that point. But maybe you do the younger versions. Maybe that's still Fox Universe, right? Maybe you do James McAvoy and
Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, maybe
it's
you do
expensive. That. It's really expensive.
Yeah, but I think it's more realistic.
So another reason Patrick Stewart doesn't want to do Xavier anymore is the death in Logan was. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert. The death in Logan for him was very, very emotional for him.
Mm-hmm.
Suck it up. You're coming back.
I think we get the young ones.
It would make sense, but it wouldn't. If we get the young ones, then we'd have to get. Wow. That's a thinker because if you get old Cyclops, old Storm, old.
True. It's kind of a mismatch.
Jean, yeah. If you get old Jean, but then you get a young Xavier, a younger Magneto, or they just retcon the whole thing and make it nice and clean, and give us bald James McAvoy and older Michael Fassbender, which has been long enough. They've aged enough to make it. They could be in their 50s or 60s if they wanted to do a little bit extra makeup.
True. I think that
which
maybe
would
they're
validate the whole thing and make not necessarily Logan canon, but they could come back and bring Days of Future Past and completely get rid of Dark Phoenix because if you have James Marsden, because they ended up being there, but Charles was Charles, not James McAvoy. So it's a conundrum, man. It's quantum tunneling. Whoa!
But you're right that James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender have aged enough that the role would make sense.
It could possibly occur.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do still some mistakes in makeup and stuff like that to really age him more, but you could do it.
They CGI Moff Tarkin into Star Wars. They could CGI Patrick Stewart in there and tell him to just do some voiceover work.
Or maybe you don't. Maybe just hear him. Maybe like they're like in an office or something, and you're hearing him, but you're not seeing him.
And they could use any audio they've got over the course of his entire stint. They can use.
Yeah, they can do that too.
Yeah, they can't AI it. That's been written out. By the way, guys, we're not. We have a segue after this, but just real quick. Writer strike is over.
It is. The only people at the table now are the actors who need to need to get what they need. But writers are done. They got what they wanted.
Yeah,
they're back to work.
Exactly what they wanted. They're back to work. Everything will be written, ready for all of the actors to come back and do what they need to do. But
tell me
you
about.
Guys remember I mentioned football.
Tell me about Trete.
You mean Swelsey? Do you mean Swelsey?
Yeah.
So, guys, I don't know if you guys knew this, but your boy Branden 2K is not only an awesome 2K player, he's also a former football player. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I have no hate for Taylor Swift. But when this first happened, like when I first started hearing about it, he was like, yeah, I'll try to drop my number to Taylor Swift. So, all right, we'll start at the beginning, actually. We'll start at the beginning. So, Travis Kelce decided that he was going to try to drop his number to Taylor, but didn't get the opportunity to do it. Then they linked up at some point, and he was able to let her know, say, hey, when are you going to come watch me play? Apparently, they had been on 2 dates or gotten together 2 more times before she made her first appearance at Arrowhead. People went crazy. They showed more of her than they probably showed of the refs making calls and penalties. 12-time Grammy Award winner, just got done with this gigantic Eras tour. Gave all of her I think it was like, I don't remember the number of truck drivers it was, but it was double digits and 25 plus. She gave them all $100,000 bonus for all the driving they did. Like, she's a great gal. But, and I'm hoping Adrian will put this up for me. There is Travis's ex, and then there's Taylor Swift, and the two just don't quite match up.
No.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I am in no way, shape, or form throwing any hate on Taylor Swift. Don't get me wrong. His look has always been a little bit on the more fashionable side. He didn't necessarily dress very urban, is what I would say. He like the shirt he wore to walking into last week's game that she showed up to was knitted or stitched together Chanel scarves.
Mm-hmm.
Like repurpose, like that's the type of thing he does. So his style, that mustache, I don't know whose idea that was, but it's got to go. And I forgot what he called it, the El Travador or something on his face. But no. So she's at the Jets game right now. But here's the craziest part that ties into that we bring this, that nobody else is probably going to bring this to you in the same way. You got the nerd side of stuff. And you got, the pop culture, counterculture nonsense going on over there. Never the two shall twine, except that we've been talking about Taylor Swift playing Dazzler in that Deadpool 3 movie.
Yeah,
it's a pop star that creates shimmer by singing, similar to Jubilee, right? It's a similar power, but it goes through her voice. Tell me why Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman were both at the game tonight.
Probably business meeting as well as watching a football game.
Yeah, business meeting more like, hey, Taylor, now's your chance. Can we confirm you as Dazzler? I'm sorry. You heard it here first at PWN. This confirms it. I'm not going to stake anything on it, but mark my words, we said it first. that this specific incident, not that, people have speculated. I'm saying the specific incident right here, right now, completely solidifies Taylor Swift as Dazzler. How else would they? Don't get me wrong. I'm sure Ryan and Blake are huge fans. Hugh Jackman, maybe even so too. But why are they both in New York at the same time as Taylor Swift at a Chiefs game in the same suite? Just let it happen, guys. I know it's Taylor Swift. I know it is, but literally there's nobody else. You can't throw Dua Lipa in this role. You can't throw anybody else in this role.
Don't be hating on Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa is like amazing.
No hate on Dua Lipa either. But Dazzler is Taylor Swift before Taylor Swift existed, except she doesn't quite have shimmer coming out of her mouth. Dazzler is a performer, skinny, mid-20s, early 30s, blonde pop star. Jessica Simpson's not around anymore. Britney's gone. This is your Dazzler. Period. So I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it right then and there. This is the confirmation.
No, I think you're right.
Just nothing else makes sense. Nothing else makes sense.
So the power of Taylor Swift.
So
that makes Taylor part of the MCU, makes Kelce part of the MCU.
Hey, the only time Kelce gets to be in the MCU is right here, right now. The only way you get in is being Travis Kelce is literally right now.
Mm-hmm.
Stick with her till she's done filming, then drop her. I'm just kidding.
Well, Kelce already knows she's gonna in about a year's time. She's gonna have a song written about him when the breakup inevitably happens.
So here's the thing. I would think that I said it out loud. I've said it numerous times out loud in other conversations. She's really hanging out with Mama Kelce a lot.
I'm pretty sure she hanged out with Mama Lautner too. Like
this, bro.
Also, I honestly believe that a lot of some of this on Taylor's part is PR. It's PR. Like she needs more.
What is Taylor like that? I said the same thing.
You're about to ask what she needs. More material. She needs more. She needs another album. So she needs.
Why would you?
So I'm just being real. Like, I'm sorry, Swifties, but she needs another breakup song, and Kelce's gonna be that. Mark my words. And it's probably gonna be
don't break his heart.
And it's probably gonna be a banger, and it's probably gonna make a ton of money. Probably gonna go platinum or gold. But that's what this is about. It's a notable breakup for that song. It is. That's what this is.
I just hope she's done with all of that. I mean, at what point, in her 30s.
At what point is it her, not them? That's all I'm saying.
I'm sorry, but I literally have gotten in TikTok arguments in the very recent future, calling her a serial dater and asking when is it her problem, not everybody else's. I 100% understand where you're coming from. Like Taylor Lautner, Tom Hiddle, like what's wrong with those two? Like what did you find wrong with? I don't know. I apparently need to listen to more Taylor Swift so I know what was wrong with them.
Jake Gyllenhaal, like all these people, like it can't just all be them, right? Like it's.
Hold on. Jake Gyllenhaal, John Mayer, Joe Jonas, Taylor Lautner, Harry Styles, Calvin Harris.
Yeah,
those are the big ones.
All have songs.
But she dated Lucas Till, Taylor Lautner, and John Mayer in the same year.
All have songs. That's what I'm telling you. It's the material. It is. I'm sorry, Swifties. This is. Yeah,
she's Lucas Till is Havoc.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. You got like, I'm sure y'all see me here. I'm literally scrolling through looking at lyrics of the X's, how they link.
Mm-hmm.
They say all's well that ends well, but I'm in a new hell every time. You double-crossed my mind. You said if we had been closer in age, maybe it would have been fine, and that made me want to die. Said that about Jake Gyllenhaal. This is a 10-minute long remake of that song. You guys didn't even date a whole year. And then she dated a John F. Kennedy clone, Robert Kennedy's grandson. Dated Harry Styles for a year. Let me see where's the lyrics? I write from my experiences. Everyone does it. I'm lucky everything we went through helped create those songs. That's what hits your heart. That's the stuff that's hardest to say. And it's the stuff I least talk least about. That's the part about the two people. I'm never going to tell everybody everything, but you'll tell everybody a little bit. And I'm sorry, but Tom Hiddleston literally said, well, how best to put this? The truth is that Taylor Swift and I are together, and we're very happy. Thanks for asking. That's the truth. Not a publicity stunt, but no song. And then Joe Alwyn, it's just, he wrote on her album. So all right, guys, this is the last thing I'm going to say about Taylor Swift that's negative. Okay, guys, it's the last thing. You got I feel like the lyrics are petty.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you guys are resonating with that, great. It's a lot more petty people in the world than I thought.
Telling you, Kelce's going to have a song. Telling you.
Kelce will have an album. He's that type of personality. That's the messed up. I don't know. Like, I understand that he was like, hey, let me drop my number to her. But like, at what point does star power outweigh the type of person and how they look? She's not his style, like at all. Like, don't get me wrong, she dresses fashionably, but it's red lipstick, a white t-shirt, and a black skirt every time. And if it's a dress, it's a white dress. Like, I'm sorry. There's white bread, and it doesn't have to do with race. I'm talking white bread, plain bread, not whole wheat, not, I'm not talking color here. I'm talking taste and blandness. And you got to put butter on bread. You got to put cinnamon sugar on it, toast it, or make a sandwich with it. Who eats plain bread? You do that when you're broke.
Right.
Maybe Travis is broke. I'm just kidding. No, he's not. This one just doesn't make sense to me. And if you want to make it make sense to me, throw it in the comments. I want to know why. Tell me why you think Travis is with her and what she brings to the table besides literally 400% jersey sale increase for Travis. Merch lines out the wazoo out of everybody's literal thought box. And then selling tickets. Give me something else that Taylor brings to the table besides those things. I don't like her songs don't make me think she's a great person. Like, she's a normal person. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody, everybody's everybody. I date a lot, all that good stuff. Yeah, whatever. Cool. And don't get me wrong, she's probably a fantastic songwriter for getting 12 Grammys. Hasn't had a lot of competition in her space. At least not pushing her tier, at least. I've talked entirely too much about Taylor Swift in the past 2 weeks. I want to be done. So I'm on a rant. I'm on a full-blown rant. Hot takes. Let's go.
Yeah. And I'll add on to that. I think Mahomes wants to be done. It's not even his relationship. He's asked about it. So,
bro, okay. You want to talk about Mahomes in this situation? How much do you think Brittany Mahomes has been kicking his shins trying to get to meet Taylor? I'm sorry, but I hate to judge someone on their looks, but Brittany looks like a total Swiftie. Like,
probably.
Don't get me wrong. I guarantee you, he's been literally his phone blew up the minute she found out. When do I get to meet her?
Probably.
Then he said in the press conference, I don't know what's been going on, but if she's with Travis, I saw meet her soon. So, like, how do you? You're Patrick Mahomes. You should meet Taylor Swift before Kelce does.
What do you got for video game corner this week?
NetherRealm Studios. You should be ashamed of yourself. You're charging $70 for that Switch atrocity you call MK1.
Oh boy.
Seen better graphics on Clay Fighter 64.
Oh boy.
Don't get me wrong. If you charge $30 for it, we might have less of something to say about it. It looks like you decided to put the Party Animals graphics on a game that's not even complete. I apologize for all the Switch owners out there that were trying to play a full version of MK1. Game's smooth. Don't get me wrong. It runs really nice, but it better run real nice for that price point, looking like that. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen the clips on TikTok. People just completely shocked by this. Yeah, if you made it $30 for Switch, you might be in business, but you're charging people $70 for 480p. And don't get me wrong, Mario Kart's got better graphics, bro. I'm sorry. Mario Kart's got better graphics than y'all right now. So y'all need to figure that out. And I know that it's not going to run like an Xbox. It's not going to run like a PC. It's not going to run like a PlayStation. But have you seen it yet?
I have.
It's gross, isn't it?
It looks pretty bad.
Shame on y'all. And everybody talking about how cool it is to have the OG skins in there. I'm going to say this one last time. My hate for MK1 is not on gameplay. It's a smooth fighting game. It's not for the graphics because on Xbox and PlayStation, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. But when are we going to get something new in the fighting space? I think Tekken 8 is going to come out and blow it out of the water. I think people will gravitate to it in a heartbeat. Street Fighter 6 for me, I've played it. I've played it quite extensively now. It's in the same category. It's in the same category as MK1. Like, don't get me wrong, there's more innovation in Street Fighter from 5 to 6 than there is from 11 to MK1. But at least there's a story to follow and you understand it. Like, yeah, there's a story, but like now that it's been out long enough, how the heck is Sindel the villain? And then how are you going to have Sindel fight Sindel and not have everybody you had in every other game just ready to go right now and not have them in DLC packs and have cameo fighters in DLC packs? I'm real confused on that. So if anybody can tell me how you can basically rip off DC, I mean, they're in the same building. I guess they probably heard something going on where it's the villain fights the villain. There's not enough innovation for MK1. There's not enough newness. They just basically brought everything back and said, okay, nothing's the same. This is how everything's going to go now. Deal with it. I don't see where to go from here. I don't see how you go MK2. I don't. So is this franchise dying? If it is, it's dying a real slow death. Real slow death. But yeah, the Switch graphics drive me up a wall. I know it's kind of old news, but drives me up a wall. Everybody excited for the vintage characters. NetherRealm, all you guys had to do was go and talk to these people that you haven't really dealt with in 30 years and ask for their faces. It just told me you guys didn't want to go hat in hand. That's all I see. You guys didn't want to pay likeness rights to the people who literally paved the way for you guys. That you guys wouldn't even have a game if John Tobias didn't call up his friends to come do a Kung Fu video game for you guys, you wouldn't have it. So before you guys come at me saying, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about, before you guys come at me, tell me I don't have to talk to these people. I've interviewed them. I know the story of how the game was created. Jean-Claude Van Damme backed out. They were kind of struggling to figure out what they were going to do. John Tobias said, hey, I have these ideas here. Drew them out. He's the art guy. Boone's more the technical guy. I know he's Scorpion's voice. I know he could over here. I know that's him. But that's his biggest creative contribution to the game. And it's now showing throughout this entire series of games from MK9 on that the creativity has kind of run its course. And I want to see some more creativity from you guys if you guys are going to charge this much money and then ask us to pay for a battle pass and then say, hey, there's these awesome vintage characters, but he's going to not be Japanese American. He's going to go Latino.
Yeah.
Latino. I see videos of this game. I won't touch it until it's in the dollar bin at Walmart or on Game Pass. I won't touch it just for the simple fact that I saw a lot of potential for this game. Even you guys could have appeased everyone by putting the old OG faces in. I'd have bought it. I would have bought it just for that. But I then would have eviscerated you just like I'm eviscerating you now on your lack of creativity. So do better, NetherRealm Studios. Do better. Period. I'll say that weekly until they're no more. 30th anniversary of 30th anniversary of NBA Jam. Our my good friend Tim Kitzrow, hopefully he will hit me back. I would love to talk to him about this. NBA Jam is an iconic. It started everything. I'm Branden 2K because of NBA Jam. NBA Jam started all the cool basketball games, and we could progress from there. Simulation style because people wanted to know true to style, whatever. But the arcade, everything, turbo, anything on everything, that came from NBA Jam. So thank you, Tim Kitzrow, for being an awesome announcer for that, NFL Blitz, and a bunch of other games. But NBA Jam 30th anniversary this year. Kudos. Awesome. Midway monster over there. What else is going on in video games? Lies of P is amazing. If you haven't checked it out on Game Pass, make sure you guys check that out. It is a Dark Souls take on the Pinocchio story.
Oh, interesting.
So make sure you guys check that out. Very hard bosses. It's very, very much in the Souls like type of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool. I've watched a couple people play that. I haven't gotten my hands on it quite yet because I'm literally going nuts with 2K. Guys, if you have any reservations about playing a sports game, NBA 2K24 is an RPG. You play basketball in it, but it's your guy. You scan your face. It's an RPG. Give it a try. There is Tekken 8 coming out soon. I'm hoping it comes out and just wipes the floor with MK1. They're sticking very, 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 very true to their core. They're not branching out. Don't get me wrong. They're adding characters and they're adding move sets and stuff like that. It's a pure fighting game that's adding more to it. So I know I talk a bunch of crap about creativity, but Tekken 8 knows what it's doing with what it's got and just keep pushing the envelope where they're at. They don't try to be in Injustice 2. They don't try to be this gigantic, massive universe. They're staying in their lane. MK was that universe, but then I see the black hole in the middle. Just sucking. If you guys have any suggestions or want to hear my opinions about any other video games, drop them in the comments. Spyro. If you guys haven't checked out my interview with Carlos Al as Rocky, you have to check that out right now. He was the original voice of Spyro. 30 years of 30 years of Rocko's Modern Life and 25 years of the original Spyro. So make sure you guys check that out. He's currently on tour as well. Make sure you look for him at your local conventions. He's awesome to talk to. He's a sweet guy. Has done everything from the Taco Bell Chihuahua all the way up to Mr. Crocker from Fairly Odd Parents and everything in between. Reno 911, he was Garcia. So like, if you guys are interested in anything, video games, cartoons, Reno 911, he's the guy to talk to. And we got an awesome, massive interview with him. He's great. He's awesome.
Very good. And also available in video format and audio format, depending on how you want to listen to it. And those links to the audio format are down below in our description.
And they're clickable.
They're clickable. And now, they're clickable. Thank you, YouTube, for finally allowing us to do that. So they're clickable now. So it'd be easy to get there. And also, if you go to our interview playlist, you'll see not only this Carlos interview Branden 2K is talking about, but also Gavin Hammond for you Walking Dead fans.
Absolutely. Or Lego, because that was you guys talk.
Right.
I'm sorry. The minute Rosewater drops, we'll get him back.
Yes.
The minute Rosewater drops, we'll get him back.
Yeah. And no shade on Lego, guys. Okay.
Just got that whole thing now.
Yeah. All right.
I had to take the swing. We're not collectors anymore. Collectors mates anymore, bitch.
That's staying in. Okay. Anyway.
It's all good. It's all good.
So let's talk some wrestling talk, because there is some stuff going on. Excuse me for my vagueness going forward. I apologize now. All right.
Hold on. Disclaimer. I got your disclaimer right here. Hold on just a second. Okay. Just so you guys know, I'm talking clearly into the microphone. Adrian may or may not have connections to the wrestling world. We cannot confirm nor deny any takes on this said podcast or any other recording under the PWN banner is made purely by conjecture, and he is not using any information received, whether that be open, closed, or secret information, to make these calls. I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to wrestling. I am a very, very, very hardcore casual. So I am sorry in advance for my lack of everything in this entire genre. Please continue.
Yeah, but the two perspectives are great. Like, that's what we need in this space. I feel that that's one thing that PWN brings to the table that some other wrestling based podcasts that talk about wrestling don't. Is a lot of times you have a lot of experts who are just talking inside baseball a lot and not really having the two perspectives. So I appreciate Branden 2K a lot in this segment. So here we go. This doesn't take inside baseball. It was announced. Impact made it official. Will Ospreay is facing Mike Bailey at Bound for Glory, and then Impact Wrestling is Bound for Glory. October 21st, I want to say, is Bound for Glory. This is going to be a great match, guys. If you don't know Will Ospreay and you're in wrestling, if you're a fan of wrestling and don't know the name Will Ospreay, I'm sorry for you. Really get on that Google. But you probably are aware, because if you're an AEW fan, he's appeared with AEW. He's appeared, this is not his first rodeo with Impact. He's appeared for a couple of times for them before, more so in his early career. But this match is going to be really good. Mike Bailey, he's been an Impact staple for a while now. Most people know him because of the association with his relationship with Veda Scott. But he's a great talent in his own right. Was very popular on the indies, and this Impact Wrestling is his first mainstream promotion being a part of. But yeah, Will Ospreay versus Mike Bailey is going to be a hitter, guys. This is going to be a very fast-paced match. This is going to be a very intensified, high-octane type of match. Mike Bailey is a martial arts expert. So a lot of his matches, his kicks are like very stiff and very. It's very, very cool to watch. If you remember Steve Blackman from the Attitude Era, he's basically a modern era of that. And Will Ospreay is Will Ospreay. It's hard to describe Will Ospreay's style, but going back to, like I said, with AEW, if you saw his match with Kenny Omega, you know everything you need to know about Will Ospreay. Well, not everything you need to know, but you kind of have an idea what Ospreay is about. I was talking a little bit off camera to Branden 2K here, and like him, even Branden 2K being a casual fan, correct me if I'm wrong. You're a Will Ospreay fan, right?
Bro, you see the highlights on TikTok. You don't just see Vikingo. If you guys look deep enough for, I am sports entertainment. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not a big wrestling fan just because of the simple fact of I didn't understand it back when I was watching it. I don't watch it as much now because honestly I just don't have cable, so I have to kind of seek it out. I have streaming services, so like Peacock, WWE, and I that whole Roman Reigns thing soured me on WWE, so I kind of stayed away from that. But I watch highlights and I watch a lot of Twitch streamers that react on TikTok and stuff like that. And the general consensus about Will Ospreay is he is the second coming of wrestling Jesus.
Yeah.
He does no wrong. There hasn't been any kind of there's no holes in his game. If there is a hole in the game, it's that he's in New Japan and not in a USA tier promotion right now. But he appears. And when he appears, there's a pop. And it's not just because he's a really good wrestler. It's because he's a damn good wrestler. Mm-hmm. And it seems to me that it's an all-around type thing. He's just good at everything he puts his boots to, basically. Mm-hmm. I have seen you just don't see a lot of 6'1", 230-pound men flying through the air like he does.
No.
You just don't. To put it in perspective, I believe he's very close in stature to the Miz. And you know how stiff the Miz is. Mm-hmm. There's no stiffness in Ospreay whatsoever. Like, don't get me wrong. And you guys know the Miz is a great wrestler. Mm-hmm. Will Ospreay's that much better.
Yeah,
but he
makes things look painful, but it's very clean. Mm-hmm. Will Ospreay is very clean. I put Will Ospreay up there where they know like Zack Sabre Jr. Those sort of names. But yeah. This being announced, I was already excited about Bound for Glory. There's a lot of cool matches announced, but this, I don't think it's going to be the main event because it's not the,
which is crazy to think about.
It's because they're, neither of them hold, let's say Will Ospreay puts like a New Japan title on the line, which I doubt is going to happen. But like, it should, you're right. It's a contender for the main event, but it's not going to be. And yeah, I'm sold on this. I am sold. So
there's nothing but good things oozing out of that sentence right there. It just sounds fun.
So speaking of Impact Wrestling, unfortunately, Sami Callihan is officially a free agent for Impact Wrestling. This is not doom and gloom yet. It's basically a handshake deal as of this moment. Impact, one thing you can say about Impact for good or bad is they do a lot of last minute contract negotiations. So this is not new for wrestlers for a month while they're in the negotiations to be working with no deal. So this doesn't mean that he's officially done with Impact. It means he can officially talk to other promotions right now. He's in that area where he can freely go if he pleases. I do know Jon Moxley or AEW is pushing for him to go to AEW because they're friends. And would Sami Callihan fit in AEW? Yeah, he would. He would definitely would fit there. Especially like if especially if like he joined like the Combat Club, the Blackpool Combat Club with Jon Moxley and with that crew, he'd fit well with that. I mean, he's the Death Machine. I mean, he fits well in that aspect. So I could see the AEW jump potentially happening, but I do know Sami Callihan has nothing but love for Impact Wrestling and is very, very thankful for what Impact Wrestling has done for his career, has done for his exposure. And I wouldn't count a contract negotiation being worked out in this case.
You got some work to do.
Yeah. So I'm both fold. I won't be surprised if he shows up at AEW television, but I won't be surprised if he doesn't. It's kind of a wash right now there. You're a Sami Callihan fan?
I would say I'm not as familiar with him as you are. What I've seen, I've liked, but I don't think I've seen enough of him. I think if he gets into AEW and puts some more tape down, honestly, if he gets more tape and Impact, probably see more of him. But if anything, the only thing I would say is I think he might be a little underutilized. I think if he signs again, he should really push, say, hey, I like money, but I also like working.
Yeah, so, I think that's a fair point.
I think he should get more. He should be on TV a little bit more if he's going to be wherever he decides to go. He should be on TV more. See what he's got. I think that he's established himself as a great support role. I think he's not quite the superstar yet, obviously. I think he needs to put a little bit more tape together so that he can advance his career. Like he's done what he's needed to do to this point. That wherever he signs, he needs to be taking a step forward, in my opinion.
I would agree. He is in his last tenure with Impact Wrestling, the last couple of years or so, he's started to become more and more underutilized. The last big program, in my opinion, was with Eddie Edwards. That really put him when he busted Eddie Edwards' head open, and they made the talk of the town, and they ran with it with an angle. That was the last time they really and his match with Tessa Blanchard was really highly up there, going after the title and that title picture at the time. But since then, he's been, like you said, more of a side story, more of a side character. He's not haven't been the vocal storyline. I'm thinking about his arc with the design, the whole deal. So I do think if he stays around, there needs to be more emphasis on Sami Callihan because he is one of their key players in my mind. One of the people that they should be building the company around. Sami Callihan, Moose, Steve Macklin, those, you have, that should be kind of your main event picture. And they kind of have gave less importance to Sami Callihan. And that could have also been by design. I mean, because they may be like, hey, contracts are starting to come up. We're not exactly sure if we're going to continue to have Sami. So why invest in Sami? WWE does this too. When people are about to be out the door, they start to de-emphasize them. So there could be something to be said there. We'll see. One person that is actually gone is PCO. The walking Frankenstein, so the PCO character I think is really cool. I like PCO. Shame to see him go. He's really the only person that stuck around during that whole what they call themselves when the Ring of Honor kind of did that little invasion. But when that group came in with Maria Kanellis Bennett and Mike Bennett and Kenny King and PCO and the Righteous, Matt Taven, when that crew came in, sipping my name, what they called themselves. But when that crew came in, he was him and Kenny King were the only people that really actually end up getting contracts out of that deal. So it stinks to see PCO go because he was kind of one of their more larger than life characters. WWE has, had Bray Wyatt, and they had the Undertaker, and had those sort of really character driven characters that are a what's the word we use, a spectacle to see. PCO was that for Impact. So it's a shame to see that character go because they really don't have that no more, unless you count Crazy Steve, and even that's going by the wayside as far as that crew. So I don't know. It stinks.
I feel like there's so much of a lacking of the spectacle characters nowadays.
Yeah.
I feel like it's it depends on what promotion you're looking at. Honestly, I mean, it feels like AEW's overloaded. So when we talk about an AEW signing, I'm like, eh. I felt like WWE was always good for that spectacle type thing. Like they always at least made sure to have something like that going on. With the with the untimely passing, sad passing of Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda. Even with Brody Lee leaving too, I feel like those two were the last of the spectacle type era. I felt like we kind of went through that whole thing with the Fiend and everything, and the Playhouse type thing.
The Wyatt family.
Yeah, Wyatt family. I feel like that was the last spectacle. Nowadays, the most spectacle we get out of WWE is Judgment Day, and oh my gosh, what's her name? Japanese gal. Asuka. I feel like I feel like she's part of that spectacle as well, but she's even been kind of getting dialed back too. So I feel like the spectacles are a bygone. How do you feel about that?
I think you're right. I can't really think who's really filling that void. WWE or Impact Wrestling now that PCO is gone.
Yeah, AEW, I would say Darby Allin and guy with the very nice but very evil. Oh my gosh, Danhausen. That's why.
Danhausen. Yeah, Danhausen. Yeah, Danhausen.
Orange kind of is too, but he's his own. That's a completely different conversation.
Oh, Orange Cassidy. Yeah, that's kind of like
a completely different conversation.
Yeah, that's not like a when I'm the spectacles as far as like the mythical, like the
mystic type
mystic,
thing, or like
Dan
bigger than life.
Yeah, Danhausen fits that, but Orange Cassidy's more of a comedy type of.
He's a spoof. He's a complete spoof that knows how to do triple backflips and cartwheels without his hands.
Yeah, AEW has a lot of those type of characters as far as that goes. As far as like
comedy,
yeah, but they don't really have a Bray Wyatt, Undertaker, even PCO type of
Andre the Giant type thing at all.
Yeah, Danhausen's probably the closest. But yeah, I don't know who feels that void in Impact. I hint at Decay, potentially, like Crazy Steve. But that's the crazy clown type of thing. But like that's kind of the closest thing they got now that PCO is gone. So, which by the way, fun fact about Crazy Steve that most people don't know if you're just a casual fan. Crazy Steve is legally blind. He's been blind all his life, so he wrestles blind.
That's awesome.
And they're starting to incorporate that into his character with the heel turn he recently did in Impact Wrestling. And I love how they're bringing that to the forefront and bringing in the process, bringing awareness to that. Because he,
that's a good way to do it. They need deaf representation in wrestling as well.
Yeah, because
that'd be dope.
Crazy Steve, had trained blind. He's had to navigate the world blind. So. He talks. He's very vocal in interviews and stuff. He talks about the life of a wrestler when you're like getting on planes and off planes, and he has to rely on people because he can't drive.
I didn't even think of the logistics type situation. Yeah. I thought about spots.
That too. Yeah.
There are so many stinking visual cues that you have to then make them audio cues, audible cues, and stuff like that. So it's just like, don't get me wrong. Logistics, yeah, but they've dealt with blind people on a plane for a long time. How many blind wrestlers are out there that are able to do what he does with those people? Because normally when people are able to perform when they're blind, it's typically when you've developed the rapport and the repetitions in order to do that. With being legally blind in wrestling, you have to, and you're going in, you have to practice on top of completely changing the way the person you're going against does anything.
And think about the element of trust on both sides. Like, think about the element of trust that Crazy Steve has to have with his opponents, and the level of trust that his opponents have to have for him.
Yeah,
that element of trust, because like you were hinting at timing and all those sort of things. Like, he can't see. Like, think about very bad vision, taking off your glasses and everything's like pixelated and blurry. That's Crazy Steve, and glasses doesn't fix it. So timing, like, he would be a great person to talk to. like, how does that work in his world?
Mm-hmm.
So sorry about that little side rant.
No, we're good. No, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Also on Impact are interested in some recently released talents. So
They're always no. I'm sorry. As a casual, I don't want to hear about interest. Show them the money.
Right.
Show them the money. You don't hear about, oh, hey, this football player's going this place, and they talk about it for 3 stinking months. No.
And some of it has to do with the 90-day no competes because they can't really do too much until that's over.
So stupid.
Yeah. So like they can't really be like, yeah, let's actively talk to this person because it's not allowed. So they put like this stuff, show the stuff on the internet, so that wrestler can just be like, oh, they're interested. After 90 days, I'm gonna give Scott.
There's already been a note passed to that man. They all know what's going on. To be on the internet talking this mess.
So the names on this list are Dolph Ziggler, Matt Riddle, which I think they should stay away from, like the plague.
Cancer.
Please don't go after Matt Riddle. So Dolph Ziggler, Matt Riddle, and Mustafa Ali are on their short list. And this came directly from PCO, somebody who would know. So PCO said it in a recent interview that he knows that the office has been at least throwing these names around. Out of those names, like I just mentioned, I'd be cool with Dolph Ziggler and Mustafa Ali, but please don't bring Matt Riddle. That's throwing your money at a problem. I heard Matt Riddle's interested in going back to MMA. I doubt the UFC because Dana White wants nothing to do with them. But let Matt Riddle go back to the MMA. Bellator probably sign him.
Matt Riddle can. He's another one right up. He's not nearly as bad as CM Punk, but just because he hasn't had enough time to develop that, nonsense. But Matt Riddle only had to take a drug test 3 days out of a year, and you couldn't pass the drug test to go get paid.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to go ahead and just pass on into obscurity.
Yeah,
he's done. He doesn't deserve the shot. You don't respect your sport. You don't respect your sport. You shouldn't be in that sport. But if you respect a whole company, no, he won't go to UFC because if he got, he can't now. Was it with cause? No, that was Punk. He just got released, right?
He just got released.
Okay, but they're tied together.
No. Like I said, if he goes back to MMA, it would be like Bellator or something like that.
I don't think he'd even get to Bellator. He'd have to start working his way up from the bottom,
like Strikeforce or something like that.
Oh no, he'd probably end up doing just amateur fights to get back warmed up. It would take him too long a time to make it worth it.
That Kimbo slice it. So
Kimbo, no. You want to talk about Kimbo Slice? We can open a whole nother can of worms there. Yeah. Kimbo literally was knocking people out on video and got a phone call.
Yeah,
like they were giving him $300-$400 to show up and knock people out, and Dana White's like, "Hey, I'll pay you X amount of dollars to come and try not to get knocked out," and he got blown up a couple times.
Yeah, so we'll see if Impact ends up going after Matt Riddle. I'm not gonna lie, it would temper my opinion on Impact a little bit, because I'd be like, you guys are not that desperate. You guys don't need him.
No, they do. I think they need to get Mustafa in just to compete with their cruisers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know.
And Dolph Ziggler's a workhorse for anybody.
He's amazing. I hope AEW doesn't entice him at all because it's so stupidly congested over there.
Yeah.
They signed so many people.
They have 3-4 shows and can still not get everybody on television. That's a problem.
Huge problem. It's talent you've paid for that's sitting still.
Yeah. Which,
don't get me wrong, I'm sure Tony Khan's got plenty of money to burn, but eventually got to put out the bonfire.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even want to look at how much cash they're burning. They're not cash positive. There's no way.
Speaking of AEW and talent, AEW talent, not Tony Khan, AEW talent has pushed for a recently released WWE superstar. They're talking about Shelton Benjamin. They've been wanting Shelton Benjamin. AEW talent has been wanting Shelton Benjamin for a while. Been telling Tony Khan, you need Shelton Benjamin. You should bring in Shelton Benjamin. You should bring in Shelton Benjamin. And it goes about, I think it goes along with the whole workhorse thing. Shelton Benjamin is amazing. Shelton Benjamin is a very good hand to have on your roster. And Do I think he would go to AEW and be like in their main event, be a star, so to speak, like with their focal point? No. They'd bring in Shelton Benjamin to put people over. I believe the same thing about Dolph Ziggler too. Like, I don't think if Dolph Ziggler went to AEW, they would bring him in AEW to push him to the moon. No, he'd bring in to like job out to like Ethan to Ethan or Alan or anybody, right? MJF. He'd be jobbing to these people. And people will argue, well, what was he doing in WWE? He was doing the same thing. And that's fair, but that further proves my point. Is that's how the wrestling industry sees Dolph Ziggler at this point. They see how they see Shelton Benjamin at this point. They don't see them as stars. They see them as you have enough name that if somebody beats you, it will matter a little bit. So
Kurt Angle thinks Dolph and Shelton are going to another one.
Right.
This just in October 1st at 1 p.m. I told Shelton, good luck in your future endeavors. He just said, thanks, brother. I was really shocked to see that, especially Dolph, when he's contributed the last 12 years to the business in the last 12 years. It's nothing short of amazing, but also Shelton. Shelton is so incredible in that ring. I'm just surprised they were let go. I understand business is business. That's how it's going to happen. I see them going to another promotion. I don't think they're done with their careers yet. Not AEW, though. He doesn't say where and it's very, 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 very smart of not putting a direct quote on Mr. Angle about what promotion they would be going to, but he does not see a re-signing to WWE or to AEW.
Probably Impact.
Should Shelton Benjamin and Dolph go to Impact?
And that's the point I was about to bring up. Like, if they go to Impact, I see them being more of star players there than they would, and not just workhorses.
Anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. Even if they went to New Japan, they would be able to be star.
Okay. So you would know more about this than I would. I don't think Dolph or Shelton Benjamin fall in line with what New Japan's doing right now.
I think, not right now, but I think if anybody could do it because he's done it already, it would be Shelton because he's been over there.
He'd have to change his style up a bit.
Because he was over there as a tag team. He was over there as a singles. He was over there with his former tag team partner, Charlie Haas.
Yep.
So that's the world's greatest tag team. Soon after their first run ended, So
I was like,
okay. So no. If anybody could do it, it'd be Shelton because he's done it already.
I don't see Dolph over there though.
Yeah,
I don't. He's too big here right now.
He also has too much, and this is not me being harsh. It's just a simple statement. Dolph is very much WWE style wrestler, and WWE style doesn't really translate overseas. That's same thing for like if The Miz left the WWE, he would not be able to do a New Japan run.
That boy better keep his company man situation. Like this, and I honestly think that's probably what kind of set it apart. Was it literally looked like it's just bad. It's just all bad. If we went over Miz is just so company man oriented, and this whole like turn that he's doing now, where he's like, "I've been in this business first." Shut up and wrestle.
Yeah.
Shut up and wrestle.
Mm-hmm. But any wrestler,
and then you sit there and look at his laundry list of injuries. You're like, "Oh, he's trying to save his job."
Because any wrestler will tell you that's made a career outside WWE or learned outside the WWE system, like learned in New Japan or learned overseas or learned in the UK or whatever, AJ Styles, who have you.
It translates over, but then the style changes, it gets adapted, but it doesn't
they had to change their style. They had to change the way they worked in the ring because WWE is a very specific style, very toned down style, a very
low risk style,
very watered down style. Somebody who's trained in the WWE system, if you just took them out of that system and plugged them into and sent them over to Japan and be like, "Hey, you're wrestling tonight," they would get hurt because they're not trained to do that. Very stiff style.
Is there anybody that comes to your mind that's made the jump from WWE to New Japan that's been semi-successful?
Juice Robinson.
Okay, so no. I'm sorry. I had to do it. I'm sorry. As a casual fan, that's a no.
For people who don't know what I'm talking about, he was CJ Parker in the NXT system. He's in AEW now.
No, I didn't say NXT. I understand NXT is attached to WWE. I'm talking anybody who's been main roster over to NJ.
Oh, you did say main roster. I was thinking like the development system, so they were trained.
Oh no, of course. If they're in the middle of their training, the style can be interrupted. But when it's ingrained in your skull for 5 years and you try to make the jump to New Japan, you're boned.
Yeah. Who left? Who initially was in the WWE and then left? Well, Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, and what happened in his career?
He had a pretty good career tag team wise in New Japan with Charlie Haas.
But then what did he do in the WWE besides the one failed heavyweight champion run?
True. I'm also thinking about like Albert.
Come on.
He went to New Japan and was a champion.
No, he was a stud though. That was oh my gosh, look at his chest. Let's put some gold on it and let this ride out a little bit. Brock
Lesnar, former IWGP champion.
Freak of nature.
I know. I'm just.
I know. You're throwing out some names, but you're throwing out it's much more common for New Japan, and then for them to come to WWE than it is go out way because you're trained to be so watered down and low risk and dare say less called in the ring, more called backstage before anything happens, and then New Japan's probably more in the ring. Type calls, say, hey, this is what we want you to do, and make it fun, and then they just kind of figure it out, right?
A lot more of like stiff hits, like actually like being stiff and hitting you. When I say stiff, I mean like
actual hits, not
spots. Like they're not afraid to get hit in New Japan. So there's that too. But
gotcha. We'll get back on that list. We may even send you out a video of what we think. Who would be good. Switching promotions. We might have to go ahead and look at that.
That's a good video. I like it. But it's time to pay the bills.
Let me get my wallet out. Oh wait, this is my wallet. Ding. This is where the cash is.
So we have some awesome sponsors. All are in the description. So if you enjoy StreamYard, they're in our description. $10 off if you join a paid tier. We use StreamYard, have since the beginning, and love it. Like I say, OBS for dummies. If you're scared about streaming, if you're scared about how am I going to connect different platforms to stream it simultaneously to multiple different platforms, StreamYard got you covered. It's very, very easy, very, very simple, very, very streamlined. If you're worried about simple things like how to get this time to pay the bills that like we have down in the corner, StreamYard walks it through. Very simple, very easy. There's other, that's why I say we'll differ it from like some things like OBS to take a little bit, maybe more of a learning curve. StreamYard basically holds your hand through the whole entire process. It's really good for beginners, and it can level up with you as you go.
Apex Energy Drink! Apex Energy Drink, guys. You have no idea how good this stuff is. You got Bomb Pop, Citrus Blast, you have Cherry Limeade, and Blue Raspberry. My personal favorite, I take a 44-ounce Sprite from Quick Trip. That's right, 44-ounce Quick Trip Sprite. And I throw a big scoop, sometimes two, of Bomb Pop directly into that Sprite, and it is no longer caffeine-free Sprite. It is the perfect gaming sip for me. Mix it with water, all that good stuff, save you some calories. This stuff, it flies. It's so good. You got your focus support. You got your energy support. It is amazing. And you get all of that without that toe fungus aftertaste. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever gotten like, I don't want to throw a gigantic name out here, but G Fuel, don't get me wrong, it tastes good the first sip, but as you keep going, kind of gets a little funky on the aftertaste. None of that with Apex. It is the cleanest energy drink I've honestly ever tasted. It's so good. So
and you use code CMACE20 for now, right?
No.
You
will use PWN20.
PWN.
And that will be active October 7th.
Got our code, guys. We got a code.
PWN20. Make sure you guys have that ready to go. I will be figuring out a little bit more with our benevolent sponsors, and we will figure out exactly how this will go down. But I'm pretty sure we'll do PWN20 for 20% off all of your energy needs right then, right there at apexenergydrink.com. They're local as well, which makes them amazing people.
Love it. So if you want to sponsor the show, if you want to contribute to the show and help us out, those codes are both those links are in the description for both StreamYard to save $10 off and also Apex Energy to save 20% off.
Yeah, you're not saving 10 like you would on a G Fuel thing. You're not saving 10 like you would on somebody, doing Dubby or anything like that. Apex Energy Drink is generously giving our listeners 20% off of their product.
Who needs Prime? Get out of here, Logan Paul. All right. So with that said, it's been great like always. And thank you guys for the support. Our channel is growing at rates we never imagined.
There's a subscribe button right here. If you guys want to know when we may be going live soon. If you guys want to know as we post up, because we post stuff all the time. Adrian is an amazing editor and has been putting up some amazing highlights of. I think we just did you just did a Batman
Evolution of Batman
kind of a compilation there. It's exquisite. Also be on the lookout. There may or may not be more of this mug doing interviews with stars of future past. You never know. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button. Comment, talk to us. We love watching watching for comments. We literally have our phones sitting right here at any given moment. We sit there and we love seeing comments pop up. We respond as quickly as we humanly possibly can. I think the longest we've waited was 2 hours on comments. Make sure you guys follow us on all our social medias. They'll be listed down as well, down in the description. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. And you guys have an excellent. We're going to call it a PWN break. You enjoy this PWN break, and we'll have another episode to you very, very soon. Take care. Get notified.
And like always, guys, as I always say, you guys keep it nerdy.
Peace.